Hello everyone, I am Abhishek Doshi, Google Developer Expert for Dart, Flutter and Firebase, and welcome back to the second video of my channel. So today we are going to talk about feature-driven architecture. So you might have heard there are lots and lots of architecture or how you can lay down your folder structure in your Flutter application. So today I'm going to present the most simplest and I feel the one of the useful architecture that you can use for your Flutter application. It is called feature driven architecture. As the name suggests, our architecture is driven by what type of features we are having. So, for example, if we have a login feature, so there would be a folder for login, etc. So, let's directly jump on how it actually looks and how we can actually lay down our application using feature driven architecture. So you can see here right now there is just main.dart which is inside the lib folder. Now let's suppose that we have a functionality called login. So actually we would be creating a folder called login, and in this folder there would be another folder which would be for view. This would contain all the UI part. Now let's just create two files, login underscore page dot dart and login underscore view dot dart. Basically, login underscore page dot dart is just the skeleton of the login page. This won't contain any UI part. So, for example, this can be like a login page, and this would actually just return login view. Let's just first create the base login view class, and from here let's return just a container. Yeah, so now this particular login page would actually just return login view class. Now why is this required? Basically, whenever we are actually implementing a particular functionality, there are possibilities that login view, this particular class, might change a lot. So we should have a concrete implementation or an abstraction for this login view. That's the reason we have login page. The other benefit is that you can actually provide all the blocks, all the state management files, every state management classes, everything to this particular login view directly. You don't have to create a class which would specifically dedicated to provide a block to login view. So for example, now let's suppose that we want a block for this. So I don't have the block extension, so let me just add it. Flutter underscore block. Okay, so what we have done is we just created a block folder inside login. Now we have basically the main functionality is the login functionality. Then we have block inside it and view folder. Now let's suppose that if we want to provide this login block to our login view page, we can directly provide it to this particular widget over inside login page.dart. So here we would have login block, and that's it. Let me just import everything. And done. So you can see that login view now would be having access to login block. Same way, if you want to provide any repository or any particular packages to this login view, we can directly provide inside the login page part. Now, we will also have one folder called widgets. This folder would be responsible for having common widgets that would be used only particular to the login feature. If you have any widgets that are globally accessible or that are common globally, like between multiple functionalities, then you should create a folder directly for widgets directly inside lib folder. However, when you're working with feature driven architecture, you should always create a folder of widgets inside a particular feature. The main benefit of feature driven architecture is that all your features would be completely independent of each other. So let's suppose in future you want to add or remove any particular feature, then you can easily do it without any issues, without any dependency, or without what you say, without the thinking that this, if we remove this particular feature, it would affect any other feature. So this is very much scalable because all the features are completely independent of each other. So whenever you want to add a particular new feature, you can directly add it to this particular architecture without any issues. And that's also one of the major benefit. Also, there should be one file called view.dart, which would be a barrel file. This would export your login view and login page. So the benefit is that you just have to import view.dart instead of importing login page and login view everywhere. Similarly, let's suppose that if we have a functionality called home, so we would be having a folder for home. If we have a functionality for let's suppose register, so we will have a folder for register. Likewise, the number of functionalities that we have, we can directly include it inside the lib folder. And if we want to remove a particular functionality, we can directly remove that particular folder. So this is the main benefit of using feature driven architecture. And I feel that having the simplest architecture would be the most beneficial, so that whenever a new teammate is onboarding your project in middle of the project, he doesn't have to spend a lot of time in understanding the code or understanding the architecture. He or she would be directly able to understand the features that this particular application has. And the code would be pretty simple to understand, and it won't create much issues, and it won't take much time to understand the code. So just to summarize, feature driven architecture is by far the most simplest architecture that is available in Flutter. It, as the name suggests, it is dependent on features, the number of features, or how you have features in your application. The same way you are going to lay down your folder structure. So let if you have a feature for login, you would be having a folder for login inside the lib folder. Inside the login folder, there would be three folders: one for state management, other for view, and the third one for widgets. You can have multiple folders like models, or if you have particular extensions in that particular login feature, then you can have extension helpers, etc. But all the folders or all the files responsible for login feature would be inside this login folder. And the most beneficial part of again the most beneficial or the most simplest part of feature driven architecture is that it is very very scalable. You can add or remove any particular feature without causing any issues to any other features. So I hope you learned something new, and if you are a newbie, or even if you are a developed or a experienced developer, feature driven architecture is really really helpful. You can definitely try it out once. So I hope you learned something new, and goodbye till the time you implement this feature driven architecture in your application. Comment out if you really liked this architecture, and if you are already using it, that's really really great. Do let me know in the comment section. So thank you so much, and feel free to connect with me on any platform with username Abhishek Doshi 26, LinkedIn, Twitter, GitHub, Medium, Instagram, etc. Thank you so much for watching this video and keep fluttering.